This is where the fun begins.
Are you sure? So be it.
I have fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure at this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
As it was explained to me by George Lucas, even when he becomes Darth Vader and even when he's fully immersed in the dark side, he is still the chosen one.
Hayden is Anakin Skywalker, and he knows this. So to have them bring all that knowledge, and it's more than knowledge, it's more instinct and emotional. They just know what feels right for their characters. It's been valuable.
It's a very meditative process for me. Sometimes my mind wanders, mostly about the scene we're about to do. The difference between Anakin and Darth Vader, and is Anakin completely gone or not? He is fully Darth Vader, he's fully consumed by the dark side. But I like to believe that there's always a little bit of Anakin still in there.
Did you miss me?
Holy crap. I am muted. Holy crap. I thought I was talking away here. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CAF Chat. Here we go. Another muted situation. I hate using these scenes sometimes because if you don't have it set where your mic is on, when you switch to the scenes on in the new format of StreamYards, you're going to be muted. So how long have I been producing shows and I still get shit wrong? So good morning, everyone. And this is CAF Chat. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys. Of course, we're going to be talking about Star Wars lore, real Star Wars lore, of course, then getting into our book of the week, our Lucas facts. In fact, those two will be regarding Revenge of the Sith, since we are coming up on the 20th anniversary on May 19th, which I want to do a show. I want to do a show about that. And talk about the art of Revenge of the Sith and go basically talk about, like, I would say, like, the art kind of is behind the scenes. So instead of just talking about the movie in general, let's talk about the art and everything that made the show what it is, right? Let's celebrate. I know you guys are all laughing at me. I know. I hate these little scene things. Like I said, if you have StreamYards and you're using the scenes, you have the updated version and you're using the scenes, make sure you're not muted when you set those stages up, those scenes up. I thought I had it all going on, but anyways. So my mug, I have CAF, of course, coffee, and in my mug, or the mug I am using, is the Twin Suns Squadron mug. Of course, I didn't put myself together. I'm still in PJs. I'm still in my PJs. I've been walking around. I've been trying to get some videos up, clips up, which you guys did see. You've seen one of them that I used for the opening. It is Hayden Christensen getting ready to play a scorched Anakin for Revenge of the Sith and talking about the Chosen One. So that's one of the scenes that I got up and used here today. And I have a couple others too. And I'll be adding some more, especially for the Gatekeepers Alliance. Yes, the Gatekeepers Alliance. And our next show for that is on the 18th. I believe it's the 18th. It's a Friday. Let me look at my calendar because I've been off a day or two lately because that's how I roll sometimes. Yeah, Friday the 18th. Join us over at Mr. Grizzly Live for Gatekeepers Alliance. So excited for that. I am back. I will be on the show. I don't have to worry about traveling for any type of training or anything like that. So I am back with the show. So Gatekeepers Alliance. But back to this Twin Suns mug. So if you guys have read New Jedi Order, and you would know that Twin Suns Squadron is a squadron that Luke put together in honor and memory of his home planet Tatooine, or his home system. And he later then turns the squadron over to Jaina. And that's such a fun read when you get to that area of the New Jedi Order, because when twins are basically like God status for the Vong. So I'm kind of jumping ahead, way ahead. And of course you have the twins, Jason and Jaina. And I think she's Yoon Harlem or something, like, I forget, but one of they have the twins there, and so she's acting like one of the goddesses or the gods of the twins, or of the twin gods or whatever. And they get Wraith Squadron involved and all of that. They really play this out to trick the Vong. It's a very fun read. And you know, when the Wraith Squadron is involved, there's going to be some crazy shenanigans. If you read the X-Wing series, yep, you will know what I'm talking about. So Wraith Squadron and their characters in there are amazing. All right, so let's go ahead and say hello. I'm going to end here about maybe right at 11 or a little bit before 11. So we have a lot of shit to do, considering that I had like 3 minutes of mute time with you guys. No sound. All right, Jordan is here. Force choke the like button and share the stream. Thank you, guys. Yes, thank you. And Scran as well. Hello, Scran. He was on Unadulterated Star Wars with Matt and John Gets Gaming. And what a conversation there, you guys. I listened almost up to the end of it, and I needed to get stuff ready, finish getting ready for a CAF chat, and then go to bed. So great stream, though. All right. And what's in your cups? The right stuff, baby. And then we have Conrado here. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. And Andrew, hello, Andrew. How are you doing? You guys are amazing. Let me see here. And Dennis D. Made it. Greetings all, and greetings to you. And Anakin Batsy is here. Yes, I know. I was muted. That's funny. When I thought I was like, oh, I got the scenes down, the scene clips down, so I could just press between the scenes. Yeah, that's funny. I always have to do something to make you guys laugh. And Discrepant is here. What's up? All right. And I know more people are jumping on. And those who are listening to CAF Chat on Twitter, thank you so much for listening in over there. Feel free to come over here to YouTube and jump in the chat where I can see you and get in the conversation today. Now, I have my PowerPoint ready, but one of the clips that I made, I don't really like how it turned out, and I'm not very happy with it, but that's okay because it's still going to be a part of the conversation, and I didn't have time to mess around with it. Get your books here, get your OG Star Wars merch here, and I have Toby on my shoulder for whatever reason. And a sub to Gatekeepers Alliance. Yes, do it. Do it. Let's see here. And I did upload this right here.
Fuck the Fandom Menace.
Fuck the Fandom Menace.
All right. I'll have more clips up later on. So there we go. All right. So with that being said, let's see here. Everything is going well over here. I do want to schedule. So those of you who are channel members, thank you so much. My mods are always welcome to come to channel member viewing and listening parties because they put the time in to be here every time I have a live, even when I don't announce. And so that's my way of giving back to my mods. So mods and channel members, let's go ahead and meet. I'm guessing 20th is Easter. I hate to do that to you guys. So I wanted to have it sooner, but the 13th, I have 2 events that I'm doing for my yoga business, so I can't really dedicate to that. So the 27th, let's meet on the 27th. By then, Andor, the show, the Disney faux show, should have been airing already. So I want to go ahead and let's finish up the Dark Forces Jedi Knight right there as the Andor begins and remind everybody of how great the real Star Wars is with the real classical characters that were involved with, you know, stealing the Death Star plans and becoming a part of the Rebel Alliance. And yeah, so I have to take a look at, I did send a poll, did a poll on the my YouTube channel about what's a good time. So I will share the time here as soon as I gauge that and take a look and stuff. So the time TBA, but the last Sunday of the month, let's meet. So if you haven't become a channel member, do it. I will get on the ball and award channel memberships as well here soon, pretty soon. I'm not going to worry about it today. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead. I haven't really checked anything for Star Wars news. Other than there's stupid fucking channels out there still saying, my Thorson said about like, they're going to go ahead and just use Luke Skywalker for everything because, you know, they're saving Star Wars, you know, that kind of shit. I don't give a shit because we know that this is just made up bullshit rumors. And so I'm not going to worry about even talking basically about that, getting into that kind of shit, you know? But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the Lucas facts because I want to show how, when it comes to canon, I guess you could say, and continuity, how some things that don't end up in the movie still end up as official, the canon. So let's go ahead and get into that. But first of all, let me go ahead and play this.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
All right. So I should be, can you hear me? Like I'm scared now because this is a new clip. So if you can hear me, let me know. Dark Forces stream has been fire. I agree. All right. So if you can hear me, I think I should be okay. All right. So here is your Lucas fact. Some deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith remain a part of the story and canon due to remaining in the Revenge of the Sith novelization. One specifically is the early formation of the delegation of 2000, which will lead to the formation of the Rebel Alliance. In the scene, members of the Loyalist Committee, Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, Padme Amidala, Bana Brimu, Feng Zar, Chi Ikwe, and Tir Tenel, and Gideon Danu, let me see here, meet in secret to discuss the Chancellor's increasing power and the ineffectiveness of the Senate. Mon Mothma and Bail Organa have set up the organization to try to prevent Palpatine becoming a dictator. This scene was filmed on July 30th, 2003, and later deleted from the final print. In meeting with George Lucas and use of the script, it was kept in the Revenge of the Sith novelization. So I'm talking about Stover there. When he met George, it was kept. So the scene was kept as canon, and my sources, I have my sources below. So if you follow me on Twitter, these do pop up on Twitter. I schedule them, and you can share this, create a conversation over that, all of that. So let's see here. I still believe I saw the delegate of 2000 or members of it in TCW. And maybe you have. I just haven't found the source, and it's been a very, very long time since I have watched that. And Matt Wilkins is so fucking brave for re-watching it. I've been following along and liking, sometimes commenting about on his rewatch of TCW. So maybe. And if anybody else can confirm that, like Purist or someone, please do, so we can confirm that. I haven't found anything yet, and I don't recall. So this right here, you know, deleted scenes happen, but we know that when George talked about some deleted scenes, they were only taken out due to time. That's all. This was one of the very important events, because if you read the screenplays and the script and stuff, they all tie into certain other scenes as well. Like when Anakin and Palpatine are talking about basically the Loyalist Committee and the formation of the 2000, the delegates of 2000. And he's saying that Padme is part of it. And, you know, Anakin's like, oh, no, she's not, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, so he's like, she's good. She's cool. We're not going to worry about her kind of deal. So that kind of puts a little bit of worry in his head and stuff. So there's a lot of little scenes that tie to this. When you read and look over the screenplays and stuff like that in the script, it makes more sense. So this is one that maybe should have stayed in, but due to time, it didn't. And Lucas had it kept in the book. So when you read, you'll get into this a little bit more. Sub to Matt Wilkins, yes. Sub to Matt. All right, so there you go. So in honor of Revenge of the Sith, I'm going to try to get some Lucas facts or any Revenge of the Sith tie-in stuff for the book of the week, just to celebrate the coming anniversary of this and of this movie. And Revenge of the Sith is my second favorite out of the 6. Yep, my second favorite. George and his company's ever heard of extended cut? They haven't really done extended cuts or anything like that. I don't think that's George's thing, because he had opportunity to do that. All he did is what he wanted to do was just improve over the OT on the visuals and stuff like that. That's why you have special editions and tie it into the PT a little bit more. And but I don't think George ever believed in extended cuts and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe that's a more modern thing, but who knows? So I forgot to play this, but here you go.
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the ready room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
I love that clip so much. Let's see here. I'm proud. I can proudly say I'm no TCW expert. Okay. Yeah, I figured that much, but sometimes you can recall stuff from when you last watch it. But I don't recall it, but I would love to know anybody who has TCW fresh in their mind. If you dared watch it just recently, like, Matt Wilkins, let me know, let us know so we can see, or we can come to the conclusion if the delegation of 2000 was included in the show some way, somehow. I don't know. I kind of find it hard to believe, but things should happen. It all happens. All right. But with that being said, let's go ahead and play this in honor of Matt Wilkins. And what a great stream it was last night, talking Purist and Matt and John and Scran talking about Ruin. So let's go ahead and play this.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the Expanded Universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The Expanded Universe respects the reader. In the Expanded Universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy, just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the Expanded Universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the Expanded Universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story and continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the Expanded Universe.
Long live the Expanded Universe. And Cruz says, I wonder why Yoda arriving on Dagobah was cut. It's a short scene. Well, we really don't need to really see that because we know he goes there. He's on his way. So that right there, cut or not, it's not really relevant in a sense because we know he gets there anyways. So I can see why that was cut. We know he arrives there. We know he leaves to go there. Yeah. It's just a little dramatic, like, oh, he arrived. We know he arrived safely. Iron Inquisitor is here. What's up? I'm so close to New Jedi Order. I need to get my butt motivated to get there. Laugh out loud. Yes, you need to. You need to. So let's move on to our book of the week. Oh, shit. Well, that didn't work.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Well,
I hate to say it, but it looks like the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
Oh, I always love that clip. And man, these scenes are hating me today. I just cannot get my back straight with them, but we made it here. So, ladies and gents, Art of Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith. So here we go. So the concept art of Revenge of the Sith is the book of the week, CAF Chat book of the week. I wanted to honor, like I said, since we're coming up on the anniversary of Revenge of the Sith movie. We already passed the novel's anniversary because it did come out like a month before, about a month before. I wanted to, like I said, pay homage too. So we have the author here, J.W. Rinsler, who put this together. And I believe the cover artist is N.T. Timons. And the publication came out November 1st, 2005. And so this is after Revenge of the Sith aired. And of course, this placement is just 19 BBY, even though it's just the concept art and stuff. Just the placement of where Revenge of the Sith falls in the timeline. So I just kept that up, even though that's not really too relevant, I guess you can say. Continuity notes is really not that, because we're just seeing conceptual art, what ideas, how they came about, and how they added to the visuals of the movie. Excuse me. Contains concept art for Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, special added features. I have the one with the special added features. I think there was 2. I believe I didn't see if there was a print date for the one that has the special added features, which contains the deleted scenes kept in the movie novelization. So any deleted scenes that this is the updated screenplay scenes that made it, that were from the movie. And it did have the delegation of 2000 in there too. So that was, even though it was taken from the movie, it wasn't taken from the novel. So the updated screenplay they still remain in there. They still remain in there. Nerd, I know. And it feels so good to be a nerd. It does. Which movie is worse without an extended cut? What are you talking about? Which movie is worse without the extended cut? Are you talking about just movies in general? All right. So let's see here. Albanos. Oh my God. $10 super chat from one of my channel members. Again, if you haven't heard yet, and I'll just remind people who are hopping on, April 27th, the last Sunday, I think it's 28th or 27th, is the watch party for, it's the 27th, is the watch party for, or not the watch, but the listen, because we're listening more than watching. Dark Forces Jedi Night. So if channel members and mods will be there, so hopefully you'll be there. Let me go ahead and read this for Dark Forces. So I'm so excited for that. All right, as I'm traveling to see my family, it's good to see CAF Chat again with my favorite historian, OG. Give me my Star Wars fix. However, I'm still a whore for Andor. Oh, you put in Andor now? What the hell? Maybe I've heard you say or seen you say Andor, but I know Rogue One, and we all like bad stuff. We all have that taste for some bad stuff. We can't help but watch. So I feel so bad for you, but hey, I mean, do what you got to do for yourself. So I need my safe space. Yes, you do need your safe space. Nice announcement of that too. We all have that temptation and stuff, and love to watch bad shit sometimes too. Woot woot. Yep. Let's see here. And the Snyder Cut is considered an extended cut of just, well, yeah, I know what that means, but I'm just saying, why are we talking about those? Laugh my ass off. Yes. So there you go. And, I have, friends and people I know and care for who do like some Disney shit. I'm going to tear into you. You know that already. Yeah, that's just how I is. That's how I is. Oh my God. I'm causing trouble already. You sure are. Oh my God. You must need sleep or something for liking Anbor, because you know that is a sleep induced type show. That is a sleep induction type show. So if you have any sleeping problems, that cures it for you. So good for you, Abu. You do need your rest. I know you get really busy. Yeah, we know that's why you like it, because it helps you fall asleep quicker. All right. With that being said, let me go ahead and come back to the screen here. Oh, it's so fascinating. You caused this yourself. I need that clip. Yeah, you done this yourself. I need that clip now. I need just for you, Abu Nas, because when you say stuff like this, see what I got to put up with. I could play that clip. And snore, and bore, and snore. There you go. I'm so wrong. Actually, I'm so right. You're the one who's so wrong. Oh my God, and thank you again for the $10 super chat. That was so fucking worth it. Oh my God, and I can't wait to tear into you some more regarding Anbor when it finally airs. Silver Orc is here. I'll stick to Studio Ghibli AI reskins an old open airlock video, but Andor is a bridge too far. Me and my big mouth. You knew exactly what you were doing, and I know you have a big smile on your face, and you're laughing. And people, if you're on public transit, they're probably looking at you all crazy. You know, but I can totally see Abu as Anakin. From my point of view, Andor is good, and OG as Kenobi. Abu, Andor is evil. Oh my God. Lucky I didn't have my drink with me, or I didn't take a drink of my CAF. Oh, this is hilarious. All right. Yeah. So you guys, let's get into the lore talk. Let me see if there's anything else I want to add here before we go. Feel free to start freshening up your CAF. I'll do a little segue here. So if you need to use the restroom, freshen up your CAF, what have you. Let me see what I want to play. Let's go ahead and get back into some more movie stuff.
Jedi is something that came a little later. When we started building Jedis, we had a lot of Jedis, and we needed more and more Jedis. As we were doing them toward the end, we ended up with a lot of Jedis that looked like people that worked at ILM, with these short little haircuts and looked like they stepped out from behind a computer. And so I was saying we have to get more exotic Jedis, and so we only have so much resources to do these things with, but I do have Twi'leks because we use them quite a bit in other areas in the Senate and as background action. So I have a sort of a wardrobe and a setup of certain kinds of characters. So it was a way of reinventing some of those characters. And I had realized that we had a comic book that has a Twi'lek in it that is a Jedi. There's a whole series actually of her. And I said, well, why don't we put her in this? I mean, she's a comic character, but we'll just fit her in and have her be a background character because that's exotic. And that's how the Twi'lek Jedi ended up in the backgrounds of these shots, was to try to use some of the work and effort that the guys in the comic book world had put into things and characters they had created.
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the ready room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
All right, so I will bring up the PowerPoint here pretty quick. If you have your New Jedi Order source book, grab it. We are going to get into some heavy shit here, you guys. That's why I was kind of like not stalling on getting through some of the saying hello to you guys, to the point of talking about Lucas Facts and Book of the Week. and all of that, because we have the invasion of Yavin 4. We have, yes, we're going to get into probably Ikrit, sorry, Soul Assassin, but one of his favorite master Jedi masters dies in this. We're going to get into Talon Card's ruse and the Yuuzhan Vong Shaper colony. On top of that, this is the fall of the Jedi Praxium there on Yavin. So a lot of shit's going down in this duology, the Edge of Victory. We haven't made it to Rebirth yet. So we will talk about all those events going towards Rebirth here pretty soon. We might be diving a little bit into it with this talk here, but we're not fully into that. And Rebirth is when we have the birth of the Skywalker, Ben Skywalker. So, you know, Mara is heavily pregnant during this time, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, my boy Ikrit, yes. For when he found out that he dies in this, he just lost his shit. Hey, no, I'm just being dramatic. I'm being hyperbolic about that for you. But yeah, so heavy shit. Let's see, heavy shit. We aren't cleaning the bathtub pens again. It's just a figure of speech, my friend. It's just a figure of speech. You know how I do. All right. So, and this stuff right here is a lot more interesting and won't put you to sleep like Anbor. So Abu Nas, you will be friggin' intrigued, and this will blow your mind and really make you reconsider on the bad shit you're watching at Disney with Disney Star Wars. Yeah, I had to go there again. All right, so the invasion of Yavin 4. Let me go ahead and pull up the Mike Casillas is here. What's up? What's up? Let me go ahead and put this up here, and I'm going to put myself on the side. There we go. So the last portion of this, I don't like how the pictures turned out, and I was spending all morning trying to take care of it, but it just keeps on doing the same shit over and over again. So I'm sorry, but I'll let you know what those visuals are. But they do pertain to what we're talking about. So again, we are still, we still haven't got to Star by Star yet, but we're near it. We are a duology away from Star by Star. Star by Star is when shit really goes down for the Skywalker family again. Yeah. That's going to be a tough one. In my reading, I am on book 1 of Edge of Victory and Conquest. And I'll be finishing that here soon, I hope. I did put it down for a while because I had training and stuff. So I'm playing catch up to Star Wars Marvel Purist on that, but it's all good. I still enjoy these. It's just sometimes I did listen to the abridged version, which is not that good. It just has a heavy plot points in there, which is okay because it's reminding me on certain events and stuff that I wanted to talk about anyways. And I was going to record the clip for Ikrit, basically his last stand, I guess you can say. But I forgot to. But I'll record that. I will record that clip for Soul Assassin just for you and share it on Twitter. And I still haven't made my Continuity Chronicles, and I forgot which book I said I was going to use. So, but stay tuned. I will have Continuity Chronicle video up here pretty soon. There's so many books I can do and call back to different areas of the continuity and stuff, which is the purpose of the video. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Let me see what you guys are saying before I get into this. I forget how good Edge of Victory 1 was. Yes, really good. And I didn't read YJK, still very enjoyable. Yes, you don't need to. Just like you guys were discussing it on last night on Unadulterated Star Wars for Ruin. You really, and this is how I felt too, because I really didn't get through Young Jedi Knights either when I read New Jedi Order first. And it still was very enjoyable. You really don't need to, but when you go back and read, it just makes it even more meaningful, I guess you could say. Let's see here. I'm ready to have my mind blown. All right. You missed too, Abanash. You missed like the beginning of New year New Jedi Order. So this whole, until we get through all the novels, we're not reviewing the novels. We are going over the timeline with major events like the state of the New Republic, the progress of the invasion, what's Rogue Squadron up to, and all this other stuff. So we're getting into these events and how it's affecting everybody in the galaxy, in a sense. And then on Star Wars Marvel Purists, he is having a breakdown of the novels on unadulterated Star Wars. And so that goes over and talks about the novels and everything going on within that particular novel. So I'm following the timeline. So there we have this. I think this is a beautiful synergy between the two, because you can dive deep into the novels and hear the discussion, and you can come over here and listen to the events and what's going on. So very amazing. I think it's a great synergy. Conrado says, Disney's Mara Jade is probably a black girl boss who's strong before the Empire recruited her. Who knows? And then hello there, Star Wars purist. Yeah, let's see here. Jar Jar Jargon's Mara Jade looks like a recolored Botan from Yu Yung Hakusho. Okay. Did he make a new one? Or are you just talking about the current one? I don't know if he made a part 2 to that yet. I need to go check it out. Let's see here. Doing good. I'm on the road. Yes. On the road again. Just can't wait to get back on the road again. All right. Lots of things happening, but still F that Peace Brigade. Yes, the Peace Brigade. Yep, he was up against the Peace Brigade. OG will be back for pure unadulterated Star Wars for Agents of Chaos. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. So let's get into this, you guys. I am going on page 107, and this is, of course, the Edge of Victory timeline. We're not reviewing the book, but we're just following the timeline, and this is where the book Edge of Victory, or the events, I guess you could say, falls on. And again, we're still within the area of conquest, and this is where they're not really pushing forward just yet. They kind of paused, like we discussed this last week. So this is about the same from previous here. And again, those who don't know, the black dots are all the planets that they taken, either destroyed or taken for themselves. And then, like I said, Alderaan, they always have to pay some homage to Alderaan with the little, blank circle there. But when we get into Rebirth, there'll be a lot more going on. All right, so let's get into this. The Yuuzhan Vong's bounty makes the Jedi Academy on Yavin for a tempting target for every bounty hunter and fortune seeker in the galaxy. So this is the invasion of Yavin 4, and then basically the fall of the Praxium. So here we go. So this one turned out pretty good. My next little slide on here, the pictures were like zoomed in on, and I don't know why PowerPoint did that. So it's kind of weird. But we have Ikrit there. We have Anakin Solo. We have Tahiri Vela. They are the 3 that are affected more in this time frame here. And of course, I had to use this classical image of Luke in front of the Praxium and stuff, and that's Yavin, the planet. All right. Although ship after ship journeys to the Yavin system and locates the planet Yavin, none can find evidence of the jungle moon, especially not with one old temple on it. Most hunters give up after a few days and go elsewhere. Well, they do. Basically, the Jedi Masters there are basically cloaking the planet, hiding basically from people finding him. So it's very interesting. You got to read. Never guessing that Luke Skywalker, anticipating so it was Luke basically, yeah, anticipating that Yavin 4 might someday be attacked by enemies of the Jedi, have cultivated a Falanasi force technique for generating illusions. So yes, it's a Falanasi illusion to hide the planet, basically. The illusion creating confusion for people who are looking for the Praxium to destroy it, harm, what have you. Some of the peace brigades are more persistent than others. As Anakin Solo arrives on Yavin 4, he finds a Corellian fighter in orbit. Before Anakin can warn them off, a dozen or more ships jump into the system. Anakin hurls down to join his friends on the surface. He plans to hold out until the smuggler Talon Card arrives with sufficient firepower. So we have Talon Card, and we're going to talk about him too. Yeah, the return of Talon Card, one of my favorite smugglers, one of my favorite people. Yeah, so it has a significant role in this. So we'll be discussing that, and a significant role he plays for Luke as well. And of course, Luke is married to his good friend Mara Jade. She was going to be second in command at the time. When she accepted the proposal, then Luke basically proposed to her, kind of deal, and later on. And so, there's kind of the story behind that. And because of Mara and Talon's relationship, I guess you could say, he's always has been there for the Jedi, for Luke and stuff like that. So it's very interesting bit. And as you read along further, there's more stories too with them. Power couple, literally. Yeah, they are. All right. Let's see where I was at. So the smuggler Talon Card arrives with sufficient firepower to chase off the Peace Brigade and sufficient passenger space to evacuate the Academy students. The Academy has no ships, and Cam, Salusar, and Tion are forced to move the students to a hidden cave underneath the ancient palace of the Mulamander, while Anakin and his one-time master Ikrit provide a destruction for the Peace Brigade landing parties. Anakin and Master Ikrit would present the appearance that all of the students were still in the Great Temple and fighting fiercely while the students slip away down into the river in a pair of boats. So Anakin Solo works with Master Ikrit to ward off the Peace Brigade and to make sure all the students, everybody, the younglings, the Padawans, all of them are at safe. So a lot going on. Again, we're not talking specifically about the book. I'd say I can go into details about that because we're talking about a moment in this event. But when you read the book, holy crap, there's a lot going on there as well. Let's see here. Flow walking coming to a Tahiri near you. Right. Right. The Peace Brigade. Yeah. Yeah. So the flow walking, and what's interesting, and I'm just going to call back to the conversation last night for Ruin on Pierce's review of Ruin with his panel. They were talking about callbacks and setups and stuff according to Jason Solo. And it's quite interesting on how, they were talking about how Jason is always looking to the future, right? And it's even prevalent here it's even, in here in the new Jedi Order, he's always looking forward to the future. And we already know Yoda's saying about that, right? And so it's basically a setup to Jason and Legacy of the Force, how he's always looking at the future and why he falls to the dark side. One of the reasons he falls to the dark side. And it's because he's looking to the future. And then he goes on his sabbatical. And this is one thing I wish we could have got was some books about his journey, his sabbatical, his learning more about the Force from different Force societies and seeing where things went wrong, like how it affected him. Because in his state during the new Jedi Order, and I'm going off on a tangent right now that has nothing to do with this, but I wanted to talk about it anyways. When he goes into onto his sabbatical and stuff like that, and even in new Jedi Order, he is at odds with himself, at odds with the Force, and this still continues even to the last book. That's why he goes on the sabbatical. But he's always looking forward, and he's always he never stays really present in the moment, in a sense. And that's basically part of his downfall. Part of his downfall. But anyways, I just wanted to get into that little thing because I just thought it was a great, interesting conversation. When you're done here and when you have time, go check out their review on Star Wars Marvel Pierce channel. A few students, Anakin's old friend Tahiri, a young Melody girl named Sana, and Cornhorn's son Valen elect to remain behind and help, not realizing that their presence only makes the situation more dangerous. Yep, there's a lot. Yep, and Tahiri falls victim. Okay. The escape to the grotto, an underground hot spring where Jedi students participate in a sensory deprivation exercise. In the morning, they climb up, and commander of the Peace Brigade ship, the pilot Remus Vin, is not too keen of being forced to help the Jedi, but soon realizes that doing so is his own best interest. So basically, they go off on their own little mission, I guess you could say. Anakin guides the ship back to the grotto, where he picks up Ikrit, Sana, and Valen, and prepares to make a run for space. However, a larger freighter blocks the grotto's exit. What? They can block in space? No way. They can block your route in space? No way. Master Ikrit's strength in the Force is such that he pushes the freighter out of the way long enough for Anakin to get the smaller transit clear. However, the Peace Brigade does not give up so easily. Brace yourself, Soul Assassin. Excuse me. They don't bringing in even more ships. They hem in the command. And excuse me, I need to take a drink. My voice is going hoarse here. For whatever reason, they hem in the commandeer transport until Master Ikrit leaps from the transport's open hatchway and again pushes the blocking ships aside. To Anakin's horror, the Peace Brigade ships turn their weapons on the diminutive Jedi Master, and still Ikrit forces them aside. Tahiri rushes to Ikrit's defense by leaping out the hatchway after him. Visions of Chewbacca on Serpendel through Anakin's mind as he senses Ikrit's sudden death and Tahiri's dwindling presence. To quote Vader, no! Oh my goodness. Again, he is forced to make a bitter choice: rescue all those still alive or risk their lives to go back for one perhaps already dead. His heart breaking all over again. Anakin tears through the blocking Peace Brigade ships and flees for the deep jungle, silently promising Tahiri, "I'll come back for you." So Master Ikrit gives his life to save them. Tahiri stupidly jumps out to save Ikrit and gets lost in the mix. And this all goes back in Anakin's mind about Chewbacca. And I was talking to Soul Assassin about this, and I said this is like basically the same thing in a sense with Chewbacca. A big grand last stand. Nothing will really be as great as Chewbacca's last stand, I guess you can say, but this little being, Ikrit, helping out, giving his life for Anakin and them to save them, and the younglings and stuff like that under Talon Karrde and stuff like that. Amazing crap, So And then, so many of you guys might know who Master Ikrit is. So I'll give a little description for those who don't know, because some people haven't read the old comics and stuff like that. Let me see what you have to say, Soul Assassin. First, the family dog, Chewbacca, then the family cat. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, let's do this. So, Jedi Master Ikrit was a pilot whom Yoda trained to be a Jedi Master. 4 centuries ago, he went to the Massassi Temple ruins to counter a Sith curse that held the souls of the Massassi children prisoner. Concluding that neither her nor any other dog could break the this curse, he went into a trance until help could come for the lost children. After centuries, Anakin and Tahiri find him in the palace of the Woolamander. He stays on the to teach the young Jedi students in the ways of the Force. Though not a warrior, he is nothing less a powerful adversary. As the invasion comes to Yavin, Ikrit takes on the responsibility for getting his charges out alive. He foresees his own death, but does not let his sadness get in the way of protecting the students. As Anakin's group flees, Ikrit battles the Peace Brigade in space, casually tossing around starfighters as if they had no mass at all. Eventually, the battle becomes too much for him, and he dies in the defense of the future of the Jedi. There we go. Future of the Jedi. Yeah. So that right there, the fall of Yavin, the fall of the Praxium, the temple is friggin' destroyed. So the Vong do destroy the temple, and we'll get more into details of that next time. We're not done here. So we're not done here. And now Tahiri is lost. So we'll get into more of this right now. Now this is Talon Card, and this picture is supposed to be a lot bigger. This is zoomed in. And he's holding a blaster and stuff. So this is about his story, helping out rescue the Celusars with the students and stuff. This is Tahiri in the middle, where she has she's at the hands of a shaper, and she is being held prisoner here and stuff. So this right here, the zoom in only of what's going on with her and how she's held captive. And this right here is the shaper compound. And it, like I said, it doesn't really give, it's zoomed in, so it doesn't share everything, but it has a Yavin 4 shaper compound, water compound, the water ship compound, storage sheds, fluid compound. So it just has what they set up, the shaper set up for this compound here. All right. So I was messing with this all morning, and every time I would make the picture smaller, bigger, what have you, it's still zoom in just to the specific what we see here. So kind of frustrating, but shit happens sometimes, so. And I was gonna take it down and just only use the 3 slides instead of 4, and I said fuck it, it is what it is. All right, Talon Card's ruse. So let's get into Talon Card. I know a lot of you guys know him, even if you haven't read the New Jedi Order series, because a lot of you guys' experience may have been through the Thrawn trilogy, where he was introduced through Zahn in the trilogy, and as well as Mara. So we have a lot of, like, when you go and read through these books, you have so many callbacks and then so many great setups. Callbacks to the past, setups to the future. There's a beautiful synergy of lore, historical, timeline lore, right? Like you can go back and say this event they're mentioning happened during this time in the timeline and stuff, and you can call back those historical events, which is why I absolutely love Star Wars. It isn't like MCU or any of that, because they don't keep historical timeline, basically, and that's just how it is, and that's fine. But Star Wars under George Lucas was always about the historical timeline, what happened, 1,000 years before or after this event, and so on and so forth. So, and then the authors, along with the Lucasfilm, made sure that continuity was kept. Yes, there was hiccups along the way, but relatively was great. So Talon Karrde's ruse. As Anakin fights his way free from the Peace Brigade blockade of the Jedi Academy, Talon Karrde arrives in the Yavin system with his ship, Wildcard, offering to help the Peace Brigade locate the Jedi students. The Peace Brigade commander, Captain Imsatad, I'm probably saying that wrong, distrusts Karrde's officer, having once been in the Grand Admiral Thrawn's fleet and seen firsthand how the smuggler had betrayed Thrawn. So that's interesting, how he was once in Thrawn's fleet, but never stayed with Pellaeon. Very interesting, right? And so he's now with Peace Brigade, but Peace Brigade is people of all walks of life who think that if they help out, the Vong will leave them alone and they'll live in peace with the Vong. But just like what was mentioned last night, and I've mentioned on Purist's live, talk about Ruin, and I've mentioned it before, the Vong don't know anything about peace. That's not in their language. This book 7, really is the detailed introduction of the Shaper class. Yes, so when you see lore videos about the Shaper class by someone who hasn't read the book too, it's hilarious. I'm curious to see who did that. All right. Let's see where I left off at. However, when Karrde offers the use of his pet Vornskers, pack hunting beast from Merkur that can sniff out Jedi, Captain Imstad leaps to the opportunity. After all, if it works, he can always eliminate Karrde later. So that's a great scene right there, because he's like, I don't trust Karrde, but I will go ahead and use him and then off him later. So great writing there if you read through the story and stuff. So this right here, just giving you like summaries and stuff of what's going on when you read the book and stuff. I always recommend reading the book. This will just give you a little bit more, like, break things down here. But the book, you get more details, what people are thinking during the time, what have you, because it is the story novel. All right. Karrde's deception is successful. The Peace Brigade tails along behind him as his pets track the Jedi students straight to the cave beneath the palace of the Wollamander. However, he has no illusions of his own. He and his landing party, Helm, Furson, and Selena, are prisoners, and they likely will be executed the moment they're no longer useful. Karrde claims to have brought along something the Peace Brigade desperately needs, and Yzlameri, the only creature known to be able to cancel a Jedi's powers. So again, call back again to, Thrawn trilogy and stuff, using what was set up, and the continuity and how it is structured. It's all good. All good. The Vornskers home in on something in the dark cave, something no one else could see. And Karrde knows that time has come to drop his deception. He stuns the nearest Peace Brigader, and the fight begins. Selena, actually his Mistral bodyguard, Shada Dukal, disables a few of the enemy almost immediately. But so Shada Dukal basically is Mara Jade's replacement, but it's not a bad thing. She is gifted and strong in her own ways. So I wouldn't say that she was trying, like, she didn't feel Mara's shoes, because Mara's Mara, right? But she basically creates her own shoes, I guess you could say, if you want to put it that way. I know, it sounds funny, right? So Shada Dukal. And she was introduced in the Hand of Thrawn duology. So interesting story. That's parts of the story is very political, heavy in a sense of what's going on during the time. And I actually like that better than the Thrawn trilogy. So, but that's just me, and I think many of you guys have heard that before. Let me see. So Shada Dakal disables a few of the enemy almost immediately, but as Helm falls within a Jedi inside, he grows desperate. Suddenly, a lightsaber blade appears in the darkness, and Cam, Salusar, and Tion join the fight. In no time, 15 Peace Brigaders are reduced to 3, and they're too busy running to fight. Card explains to Salusar and Tion his manipulations of the Peace Brigade to find the Jedi. His urgency grows as he sees the great hole in the side of the Great Temple scattered with the wreckage of the Peace Brigade corvette. He needs to get the children aboard Wildcard before the Peace Brigade reinforcements arrive. Captain Imstad launches an all-out attack on the wild card as it leaves the surface with the Jedi students aboard. In the initial exchange, Card damages Imstad's frigate, but at the cost of his own hyperdrive. Wild Card stalls at Yavin. Help arrives as the rest of Card's ships jump into the system, including Etherway, Sudden Demise, and Idiot's Array. Oh my God. Okay, so if you guys don't know Card's history, his organization and his fleet is pretty big. And they are basically scattered throughout the galaxy, really. If you dive into the lore of Card, Talon Card and himself, yeah, he has a big organization. He does. And so those are some of his main ships. After 4 hours, a beleaguered Captain Imstad agrees to a ceasefire minutes before a Yuuzhan Vong fleet arrives. Let's see what you guys are saying. Okay, there we go. Anything for Selena, the real one knows that. Yeah, Selena. How am I supposed to know which book I'm reading? There's 19. You mean there's 20? You mean there's 20? Yeah, so there you go. And I'm not going to read more about Talon Card. We already know who he is. I think he's well known within everybody, like everybody in the Star Wars, like mainly you guys here as well. Great man, huge organization. And he's like, I'm not going to be, just working for the New Republic or the Empire. He's like this middleman, but in a way he's not. He doesn't realize that he always chooses the Jedi side or the good side, I guess you could say, or what have you. It's very interesting how, the machinations or the thoughts of Talon Card. And then Han even asks him at the end of which was it? At the end of the Hand of Thrawn duology, where he says, what's it gonna take for you to come to our side or whatever? And they're joking around, and he goes, well, Skywalker wouldn't have another sister out there somewhere. And Han's like, well, but the Skywalkers, you never know, so there's that back and forth that I thought was really funny. And let's see here. It's not like 6 movies. Man, Star Wars is such a chore. Yeah, for some, it's such a chore. They just can't get through it, But when you love something so passionately and you're just excited about the story and what's to continue, you want to continue to read, right? It's not a chore. When you have the passion for something, it's not a chore. It's a delight. It's a passion. All of that. Pierce tried to confuse stupid Wave on stream by putting the books out of order. I just learned how to count to 20 last week. And Lucas Gerson, hello, how are you doing? And his cat assistant, Hishish or whatever her name is, such a loyal gal. Yeah, and it's so funny when they test her too. Oh my God, and how she leaves scratches all over the control panel. Let's see here. Yes, and hello. Be honest, OG, you like Talon Card for his fashion sense. I just like him because he's a cool cat. And his voice, like when most of the time his voice, when you listen to him on the audibles and stuff, is so great. I like his voice too. When it's like has that kind of like that Latin accent, I guess you can say, kind of smooth. I like that because I think it fits the character of Talon Card. So the Yuuzhan Vong Shaper Colony, we're going to get into that. And then when we return back next Thursday, we'll get more into that, more into Talon Card, more of the Great River, and what else? The Escape from Yavin 4. So that's going to be, this is going to be lore heavy on these events here, going towards Rebirth. So there's a lot. So we might have to break it up a little bit more as well. We'll see. But I'm hoping that we can move on to Star by Star pretty quick. So Star by Star, and then once we get past Star by Star, you know, we're not going to be going through the source book, so that will be more of my research. It's not going to be hard whatsoever because this is laying the grounds to what I need to look up. Like once we get to certain points, I'll say what's the state of Republic, what's the you know, where we at with the Vong invasion, and we need to get back to the Rogue Squadron, what's going on with them here pretty soon. Right now, there's nothing really going on per se with them. So it's going back and forth. What's going on here, there, and what events are playing out with these characters. So, all right. So the Vong Shaper Colony. Now, the Vong in these books leading up to Star by Star, we're getting a glimpse into who these people are, the species are. And they keep on introducing something new, or they hint upon it, then they bring it the next book or so. So we're finally getting to the point of what shapers are, what's going on. And this is going to affect Tahiri Vela so much. And when we move on, you know, we are going to have in Rebirth is when Jaina, when Tahiri is saved by Anakin, and Jaina goes to be with Tahiri, and she goes into a trance to help save her. It's so dramatic, but it's so pitiful at the same time because they do so much to Tahiri Vela in the shaping. The Yuuzhan Vong arrive in the Yavin system. I do need to take a drink and stuff and clear my voice. So let me see here. Let me put on a small little clip here. Let's listen to this real quick.
The fate of the galaxy is now in your hands. With the new LEGO Star Wars Slave 1, you can load Captain Solo, arm your weapon systems, man the cockpit, and take off with the most feared ship in the galaxy. But watch out for rebel ships. No matter the enemy, no matter the firepower, you control the action. With the new LEGO Star Wars collection.
All right. So let's get into this now. The Yuuzhan Vong arrive in the Yavin system with warships and a sizable armada of support ships. Strangely enough, though, they do not come hunting Jedi. They want to establish a colony devoted to research and development undertaken by the Yuuzhan Vong Shaper caste. Even as Talon Card takes his ships to the edge of the Yavin system, awaiting an opportunity to rescue Anakin and his fellow students, Yuuzhan Vong warships drop gigantic pods to the surface of Yavin, obliterating all the traces of the Jedi Academy with organic structures. So that, like I said, this is the destruction of the Praxium, and after this point in time, when Talon Card rescues, the Praxium is now mobile, and then we'll get into Shelter. And this shelter goes all the way to the future again, to what really happened to the students at shelter when you get into Fate of the Jedi. And very interesting. Let me see here. A long time ago, probably 3 months ago, on a stream, I read an excerpt from the Essential Guide to Warfare from Tahiri. I'll need to revisit that one on stream in the near future. Oh man, I think I have that Essential Guide to Warfare. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I don't know if it is inconsistent, but wasn't Hishishi, I don't know how to spell her name, supposed to speak only her language, like Hand of Thrawn duology? I mean, she speaks basic in New Jedi Order. She speaks basic in the Hand of Thrawn as well. So so it's very interesting how that plays along. So yeah. While the Yuuzhan Vong Shapers settle into their new home, Anakin and the students desperately attempt to repair Remus Van's mangled ship. Van, Sana, and Valen carry on the arduous work of restoring the transporter's damaged repulsor lifts and ion engines. Aiding them are Anakin's Astromech 5 and Coral, an aged Imperial TIE pilot turned hermit who's been living on Yavin 4 since the destruction of the first Death Star. So that's a call back right there to Young Jedi Knights. Because when Anakin, or when Jaina, and I think it was Jaina or Jason, or one of them, or was it Tahiri? I don't know, but I have to go back and revisit. But my point is that one of them flies out a ship or something. You know, it was Chewbacca's nephew's ship that they send him, and they go out to pilot and stuff, and they crash, and then that's where they come across this old X-wing pilot, TIE pilot out there. So there's a callback there. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it says, yeah, Jane and Jason found the Imperial in the... Yeah, correct. So very good read. Oh, thank you. I had forgot about that. My bad. No, that's all good. You know, it's, you know, we forget stuff at times because, you know, maybe we read it a while back, and it's okay to say, was it like this or was it not? It's okay to ask that question. You know, I'm not going to shoot you down for it or anything, because if I forget something or I can't fully recall something, I'm going to ask someone so that I get it accurate or I'm not too confused about it. Very interesting. Yes, Abu. Yes, it is. Very interesting. A lot of callbacks here and there. Okay, let's see here. So the TIE pilot turned hermit who have been on Yavin 4 since the destruction of the first Death Star. So just imagine that. Since 4? No. Since 1 ABY. There you go. Meanwhile, Anakin himself so that's what, 27 years. Or no, 26, 25 years for that pilot. Stuck and decide to just remain there, you know, because I'm pretty sure he could have had opportunity to make his way to the academy and find his way off planet. Yeah, you're right. It's the Shadow Academy, I believe, the second book. And yeah, it's the second book. Shit, I be forgetting day to day. All right. Anakin himself, having rigged up a crude air speeder, sets out for the Great Pyramid, standing by his promise to rescue his friend Tahiri. So Anakin stays on planet and to go rescue Tahiri. The path is fraught with danger. In addition to Yavin 4's usual complement of grenade fungi, piranha beetles, and nearly invisible crystal snakes, Anakin has and the young Jedi Knight set up all that too, because we know Jason Solo basically has his own little zoo of creatures that he takes care of. And there's also a prank he does with the crystal snakes, but that's for another story. Just calling back again, and you don't have to read this to know, but once you know, you're like, oh shit, okay, that's pretty cool. I get it. You know, you don't have to know that this oral guy our Koro guy, was a abandoned TIE fighter during the Battle of Yavin and crashed and basically remained there. You know, you don't have to know all that, but once you do, it just makes it more interesting. You're like, oh, that's his story. But he basically tells the story, all of that. So very interesting, very fun for these callback. If you don't know, now you know. Correct. All right. Anakin has Yavin or Yuuzhan Vong patrols to worry about. He hopes that by traveling in an airspeeder, he can either pass by or outrace any Yuuzhan Vong troops. However, their biotechnology surprised him. They have their own equivalent of airspeeder, a flying creature called the Seek Vi, and I probably said that wrong. Its questing tendrils snag Anakin's makeshift craft, causing it to crash, and Anakin is forced to continue the rest of the way on foot. Slogging through Yavin Force jungle, dodging Yuuzhan Vong patrols reminds Anakin all too much of Dantooine. Yeah, so when all that happened in Dantooine, and he was there to help his aunt, you know, find recovery and stuff like that from the cone spores and stuff like that. This time though, he does not have his lightsaber, and yeah, so they had to fight against the Vong's invasion on Dantooine as well. So callbacks to that, and that's very fresh in his mind because it's not even a year ago since that happened. Not even. All right, because his brush with the let me see here, the Tisk Vi's Dovin Basil warped the focusing crystals. Armed with only some grenade fungi and sharpened sticks and the Force, Anakin travels several more kilometers before the Yuuzhan Vong patrols gradually hem him in. Exhausted, bruised, and wounded, Anakin finally falls prey to the pair of Yuuzhan Vong warriors. They, however, fall prey to another Yuuzhan Vong. This one shows signs of mutilation. His implants dead or dying after efficiently and callously murdering the two warriors. He introduces himself to Anakin as Val Repung. I think I said that wrong or right. I don't know. And says that he needs the Jedi's help. And so, introduction to shaping. So shapers basically, whenever Vong, they mutilate themselves in honor of their gods, right? So when you see some Vongs, they'll have different appendages on and stuff like that. They have the embrace of pain. They like mutilation, all this other stuff. So as they, you know, get progress along in their warrior system and stuff like that, or just in their society, and have pieces of them replaced, tattooing, all this other stuff, they go to shapers. The shapers help them out, right? And if while being shaped, it does not align with your bionics, I guess you can say, and your body rejects it as a Vong, you are now casted out of society. And so this is who Anakin falls, or Anakin comes across, who saves his life, I guess you can say. And it's very interesting to see this new structure within the Vong society. All of that. Let me see what you guys are saying here. George Lucas Star Wars, you get the Yuuzhan Vong. Disney Star Wars, you get the Vespa crew. Oh, let's see here. My boy Anakin went full Rambo on Tahiri's rescue. He sure did. You have to read it. So yeah. And so these are like the shape, these are like the outcasts of society and stuff like that. And we'll get more into that as we move along as we venture more into the storyline here. And we'll get into Anakin among the Vong meditating on the Yuuzhan Vong, and this is where he finds the crystals, the tree crystals. I forgot the name of them. I'll have to and he bonds with it and creates his own new lightsaber, which helps him sense Vong as well. And then the escape from Yavin 4. So we'll get into all of that aboard the Air Adventure. We'll get all into that next week. So just a little glimpse here of what's going on. Let's see here. Funny how you see the temple being built by the Massassi under Naga Sadao orders after the hyperspace wars to see them destroyed 5,000 years plus years later. Let's see here. Hey, bro, I just got my new mod today, man. Hello. Yes. And so, right. So, it's the equivalent of the Sphinx or the pyramids in Egypt being destroyed. Yeah. So it's like I said, this is such a good storyline, but then you have all these wonderful callbacks and setups, sharing, reading through this. And once when you get more into the lore and you see all these callbacks and all these setups and stuff, you realize how well this franchise was put together under George Lucas. And even though this is a new approach to story in Star Wars, which was desperately needed, it still pays homage to what Lucasfilm and the franchise is about. So we'll get more into that. Anakin in the story right now, once he gets in and basically infiltrates the Shaper complex to rescue Tahiri. There's a lot of stuff going on. And like I said, he meditates on the Vong. He uses one of the crystals from one of their trees, I guess you could say. And I can't remember the name. If you can remember the name, purists, let me know. And he takes their focusing crystal and makes a new saber from it, and all of that. And it's setting everything up for Star by Star as well. So this is going to be, it's going to be a heavy. Let's see here. Did I read this one? The Massassi worked so hard on that temple, man. Damn you, Vongs. Yeah, and then it was used, like you had Exar Kun, whose spirit was trapped in one, and basically tried to destroy Luke's order, and all of that. And then there's so much going on. Like those temples had a lot of history, like past and present. And now look at the Vong has destroyed them completely. And the Praxium, the students are now on the move with Talon Card. So very, very good stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, he can slightly detect the Vong using their own tech, right? And it's so fucking interesting. So I'm gonna have to look up. I think there's some images for that. So next week, hopefully, my slide, if I add more, won't turn out to be how these look here. And I'll have more visuals for you guys as well. So let's go ahead and take a quick break again. I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I'm doing a I hardly have to worry about using the restroom, but damn, I have to go. So I'm going to play this. I'm gonna use the restroom, and then we're gonna get into Cringe Factor. Cringe Factor, what is that about? I never mentioned it. So basically, this is by Nathaniel Rourke, and we've used his articles before. And he says, I think I figured out the real mastermind behind the Emperor's Return, and it's not Palpatine. So basically, Disney Star Wars is showing how Palpatine's not really a mastermind. He's not this manipulator mastermind and sets shit up. So we'll get into that, the destruction of Palpatine more under Disney lore. So let's go ahead, refresh your coffee, all of that. I need to go use the restroom. I do, honestly, yes. So I'll be back with you guys.
3, 2, 1.
Everything published was canon.
Good day, Star Wars fans. Long live George Lucas era of Star Wars. If you are new here, welcome, welcome. I have been watching, researching, comparing, and contrasting the original lore to Disney's Star Wars lore. I have shown disdain on a beloved title being used for a new miniseries, and that is Tales of the Jedi. Taking a very loved Old Republic story title to try to recreate a similar feeling to a different story era, hoping to appease the expanded universe fans they told aren't wanted anymore. The show has 6 episodes, mostly written by Dave Filoni. Those who don't know, he is the creator and director of The Clone Wars. The average runtime of Tales of the Jedi short stories is about 15 minutes. Not a lot of time to develop a story or character. The dialogue isn't very intriguing. Continuity is not in line with their own stories and lore. Clone Wars by Tartakovsky, which had little dialogue with a short story and plot, gave more depth and development. Thinking about how I have disagreed with the title use, why did they not pay respect to the creator of the original and true Tales of the Jedi, Tom Veitch, who passed away February of this year? No, he is not the only contributor, but is the main writer and developer of the stories. You would have thought Disney Lucasfilm would give a respectful note to the creator behind the original title they appropriated. After all, Tom Veitch and George Lucas created the Sith lore together. This brings to mind how Disney Lucasfilm praised Filoni for the Night Sisters and the Dathomirian Witches in a publication that came out on the passing of Dave Wolverton. It took people like Open Airlock Policy and myself to gain Disney Lucasfilm's attention to take notice and pay respect. Tom's passing was due to complications of COVID, leaving his daughter, Angelica Stasola, to organize a GoFundMe to help Veitch's widow, her mom, Martha, keep her home and medical care through the funeral expenses. As of now, I don't know any of the outcome. It is unclear if Disney Lucasfilm helped with any expenses. As we know, they can't honor contracts with their authors. Why would they reach out and help? This is clearly what a corporation does. There is no compassion and honor to who came before. They just want to suck the legacy dry. The titles even look the same. Don't be mistaken. The company and its lore is as disingenuous as its approach and handling of what came before. Let's hold them accountable for their actions. Rest in peace, Tom Veitch. Thank you for your contribution to the original Star Wars lore.
You want to buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
Eventually.
This is how
Star Wars
does. With thunderous applause.
So uncivilized.
All right, you guys. So it's always good to bring up what happened with Tom Veitch and how they're have been appropriating the Tales of the Jedi, all of that, without paying homage to the original contributors to such titles and stuff like that. So I thought I'd bring that up one more time and also remind you of how they are blindly consuming, and don't even care in the direction that Disney has been taking Star Wars. Even here today, everybody's praising Andor, but they're like, oh God, we don't want, Star Wars to continue to be destroyed by, Disney and blah, blah, blah. But yet they praise still the destruction of it. Oh, I'm against what they're doing. I'm all pro George Lucas, but then they praise the new show's coming out. So you can't have it both ways, really, fence riders. All right. Yeah, the Predator and animated are the Predator animated looks like trash. You notice they make it all look like an autism Predator version, not the OG Predators. Oh my god. Yeah, I haven't really been paying attention much to that, but I'll trust you on that. So now with this, here we go. I think I've figured out the real mastermind behind the Emperor's Return and not Return, and it's not Palpatine. So this is, whoops, where is it? Here it is. All right, and this is by Nathaniel Rourke, whatever his name is. So several Star Wars projects have focused on the Empire's Return, the Emperor's Return. Empire's Emperor. And I have a theory about the identity of the real mastermind. So who do you guys think do you guys know who it is going to be? The identity of the real mastermind behind this? Because of course, Palpatine can't be planning. He didn't plan to, take his Force essence and put it inside a clone of himself and build an army and stuff. He didn't plan that at all. It was someone else who said, you need to do this, this, and this, right? So let's see what Nathaniel Rourke is saying. And mind you, this is Disney Star Wars, not the real Star Wars, but I just wanted to point out how even people who are big fans of it will make like someone like Palpatine, one of the best villains ever, look like they can't plan shit out, and they make him look less of a villain, I guess you can say, less of a mastermind. Although the Empire seemed defeated by the Battle of Endor in Return of the Jedi, such massive military power refused to go away overnight, and that's in the original Star Wars lore. Had the Empire survived long after Return of the Jedi, and the new canon has taken a similar approach. Well, they have the Imperial Remnant, but when you look at what Disney has been doing, basically after Jakku or something, and I probably got maybe the events timeline slightly off because I'm not too privy, inciting all that shit. Palpatine basically had his empire self-destruct after his death, basically. So, and then when you get to the rise of Palpatine, that wasn't true. So what the fuck? But then when he has his people self-destruct, he takes his Force essence and hides away on Exegol in his clones. So it doesn't fucking make sense. Really, it doesn't make sense whatsoever. And that's why you have this Nathaniel trying to make sense of it. And that's why we're here talking about it in Cringe Factor. All right, let's see what you have to say here. Somehow Palpatine returned, right? George was the true mastermind behind Palpatine's return in the original canon. Ha ha ha. Yep. Of course, I know it's Darth Jar Jar Binks. Abunas. I always tried to be cool with Polly. He blocked me like a bitch when Pshaw got his fifis hurt by me asking simple question in chat. Yeah, I remember that. That's fucking ridiculous. Plagueis are a new, stunning, and brave female character. Well, you got part of that right, and I will let you know here pretty soon. Sparrow. Let's see here. And every time I get to these articles, it seems like my chat and stuff, when I press on it, it's like gets like pauses, gets stuck. I wish it wasn't real. I wish it was sort of a sizzle reel. A sizzle reel. All right, let's see here. And I wish, okay, I think I clicked on that. Oh, here we go. Oh God, I hate the chat when I start reading or screen rat shit. Glad you did, and that sucks, but the Disney for you shake my head. All right, so let's get through this because I got to get off of here pretty soon. All right, Palpatine was secretly the mastermind of the First Order, but what about before that? And so here you go. You got this guy smiling. Is this the guy? Credit where credit is due. Palpatine was the true mastermind behind the first... Okay, credit where credit is due. Palpatine was a true mastermind behind the First Order in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. In the event of his own death, Palpatine had a contingency to recreate the Empire from the ashes of destruction. Follow the Empire's final defeat of the Battle of Jakku. Grand Admiral Rey Salone took her remaining forces to the unknown regions and began of what would evolve into the First Order. So there you go. And that's all I have to read. He thinks this lady is the one that was the mastermind behind Palpatine's return. Not that Palpatine, plans things like, the Clone Wars was something he planned, something him and his master put together long before we found out about it in Attack of the Clones, right? But then again, he didn't do this because this is fucking Disney Star Wars. Of course he can't. It has to go to a woman. Yep, I said it. I said it here. And I'm not going to read through the shit because I have to leave here pretty soon. But I'm scrolling down. Where's her picture? I know her picture was on here. Oh, here we go. It is her who basically this guy thinks that is the mastermind. Which one is playing? Which one is playing? Knock it out. All right. So they think it's her. She's the mastermind. This guy thinks she's the mastermind, that she basically, helped build it all and stuff like that. And so that's who it is. That's who the person thinks it is. It's a woman, not Palpatine, not the Emperor, who had basically by his master Plagueis has, basically created the clone army behind the scenes, right? But no, he can't do something again just as brilliant because this is Disney fucking Star Wars. I always tried to be cool with Polly. Oh, I read that one already. Let me see here. Well, it's not like Palps was a freaking Sith Lord trained by freaking Plagueis the Wise, who knew how to manipulate midichlorians. But okay, yeah, I know. Maybe don't make things up, Cameron. Right? And let's see here. Lucky for him, I like Zax. Let's see here. Strong black woman. Box check. Yeah, so I read through this whole thing and I was like, you know what? I can just read through it for a few paragraphs and that's it, because he will, this author here from Screen Rat will put in his whys and reasons and stuff like that, but you really don't need to go through that to know that, this is the thought process of Disney Star Wars fans. And, of course, they have to, just like Disney Star Wars or Disney Lucasfilms, they have to deconstruct and dismantle, bastardize George Lucas era characters, including Palpatine. And so, of course, they have to make one of their own look like they're the masterminds. They're the ones, the curators of what's coming. And, of course, the Salone chick that you'll see in Ambor is the mastermind behind all this shit. So there you go. What do you guys think? What do you think? Oh, hell no. Well, you like Ambor, so thank you so much for supporting that shit, Abunas. Oh my God. I don't think Zax would block you. Laugh out loud. Well, all you know that since the sequel trilogy, Disney actually uses Reddit for like fanfics as basis for their new stories. Well, we've seen shit like that happen and stuff like that. They don't have creativity. They don't have no creative bone in their bodies and in the structure of Lucasfilm anymore. They have to, they toss out the EU, then they have to cherry pick from it because, they wanted creative freedom, which means it would tell the fans that they wanted to tell their own story, and that's why they're tossing the EU, but no. And then they rip off, it's been proven that they've ripped off some fans before for some storylines and stuff like that as well. So yeah, you never know. And it's dead. Star Wars under Disney is fucking dead. And I said it here. Campfire. Yes, the campfire. And let's see here. I wish I saw the stream zombie. All right, Screen Rant is not to be believed for anything Star Wars. Hey, I love Andor, but even I know that's bullshit. He's defending it now. I know that's why Screen Rant and a few other articles and even Variety has made it on here for Cringe Factor. They contribute to Cringe Factor, but it gives you the state of Disney Star Wars fans and how they feed and how they are in sync with Disney, Lucasfilm themselves. And we'll see if this fruitions. If not, then it doesn't. But it's a cringe. It's cringe, right? It's cringe nonetheless. Cringe Factor doesn't mean that it's real. It just means that the theories or shit behind it, or even if it's real under Lucasfilm, it's fucking cringe. And that's the purpose of this. All right, you guys. So I thought I'd get through this. Let me see. Put me back in. There I am. There we go. So I thought I'd get through this here with you guys, and I have to hop onto a meeting in less than 9 minutes. So that's why I'm like rushing through this crap. So again, on the 27th, and I'll announce the time here within today, the watch or listen party for channel members and my mods, Dark Forces Jedi Knight, the third book of Dark Forces Nuvala trilogy. So let's do this. It will premiere right after, soon after Andor makes its debut for season 2. So let's get in there and watch the real Star Wars, the real events of the time period, And so meet me there tonight. I believe it's Casual Rage. So check that out on Raging Rhino's channel. And then on the 18th is Gatekeepers Alliance. So I will be back with the group, and I'm so fucking excited about that. So check it out on Mr. Grizzy's as well. And go check out the latest live and catch the replay from Star Wars Marvel Pierce channel on Ruin, and see what they talk about with that novel. Very interesting conversation. Yeah. And if I miss anything else, I'm so sorry. You guys have a good day, and may the force be with you. And I will chat with you guys later. Oh yeah, one more thing, and I'm just gonna make this announcement now, and I'll keep announcing it. May 19th is a special live regarding the anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. So stay tuned for more deets on that. And you guys have a great day, and may the force be with you. Let's see here. What do I want to show?
Elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
Another happy landing.